Right. Welcome everyone on Andrew Daniel's Purposeful TV. Thank you so much for joining me live here on this channel. It's amazing to see the love, the likes, the videos are really speaking for itself. I mean, your comments, your reviews tells me that I need to come back and also continue to discuss the chapter by chapter on this book, Grace in the Fall, Fuel for Tomorrow. Thank you so much. We had an amazing time the last time on the review we had on the introductory chapter, which was the Seeds of Grace. If you haven't seen that video, make sure that you go right now after this live and check it out. It was an amazing time. And the chapter we're going to be discussing today is a royal beginning. And I hope you've seen the video already. Right, let me just give you guys a few minutes to invite a friend, invite a family member. Let us sit together. Let's hear it. Thank you. Right, a royal beginning. A royal beginning. Let's start. Let me start by asking us, what does it really mean to carry the weight of a legacy? What does it really mean to carry the weight of a legacy? I'm sure that question is not new to many of us, as many of us do carry that. We do carry a legacy transferring from our forefathers down to us. And what does it feel to carry that weight? Many of us are aware of it. Some are bigger than others in responsibilities and expectations, isn't it? But what does it really mean? Let me have that in the comment section right now. Have you ever felt the invisible expectations of those who came before you? Because in this book, really and truly, I felt it all the way through, and I'm still feeling it till now. There are invisible expectations of those who have come before me, my parents themselves, starting from them, as they are my first-hand examples. And we do have my grandparents, some who have passed on, and some who are still very much alive. So, have you ever felt that? The invisible, they don't tell you, you just know they expect certain things from you. Something great, something beyond your own imagination. So let me hear it from the comment section right now. And I'm going to actually discuss quite briefly. Some of my experiences or my view on the invisible crown, especially that we're talking about a royal beginning. So let me start by saying that from the reading so far, we would have gathered that Andrew Daniels was born into a royal family. And hence this a royal beginning chapter. And this is to tell us that when I was born, in Efon-Alaaye, which was where I was born, not my hometown, because my dad is from Ekiti, as we have read in the previous chapter as well. But if anybody is so familiar with this, let me know as well in the comment section. You visited these places before, let me know. Beautiful place, to be candid. And I've met even more amazing people from Efon-Alaaye, and also from my hometown, my heritage home, where the palace is, Ekiti, quite a popular place, a popular time, popular city. I grew up knowing this invisible crown, even though when I was born, people around me didn't carry the crown. Our home was the palace that we live in, that I know, not the town palace, because I was born in Efon-Alaaye, my parents were living there. So we were not in my hometown where the palace, is at the moment. But my parents were professionals living in Efon-Alaaye, and that was where I was born. And quite a lot of people around me do carry this invisible crown, which was also transferred onto me. So it is a very great thing to see people around you. They will always say you are a prince, you're a royal prince. And we always hear stories about how we're not just ordinary people, which was funny to hear that, but people that needs to carry themselves in a certain manner, in a certain way, things that we cannot do ordinarily without being questioned. So you'll be questioned, why did you do that? Why are you doing this? So I grew up actually having that background of the invisible crown upon my head, upon the activities that I do, upon everything. And this chapter actually sets the stage for the rest of the stories to come. Many of you are from a royal background. I could see many people right here do have the same invisible crown, some that are not even from a royal background. Right now, being a Christian, born into a Christian home, which we'll get to in the story as well, we all carry, as people of faith, carry that invisible crown, which is the crown of our God in heaven. We know that our God is the King of the universe. So we all carry this invisible crown. And coming to the natural sense, this was my reality as well. And thank you so much for all the comments right now, the likes, and thank you for joining in, those that are just joining us for the first time. We are actually discussing chapter by chapter on this very book, Grace in the Fall, Fuel for Tomorrow. And as we move on, I'd love for us to touch very briefly on my foundation coming from a household of faith and my general upbringing. Growing up in a home centered on faith, discipline, and compassion. Should I stress that? Faith, discipline, and compassion. Right. Faith. We have faith in God Almighty, and also in our heritage, in people that have come before us, in things that they have laid down before us. So we keep hearing how it is that we must live the same way, and we must live right. My dad will always say that he doesn't want to hear any bad report of you. He will always say that a good child brings some good reports. So it is very important that this was something that shaped me all the way through. And the discipline of my dad and family members, these are things they don't take lightly. And when they see something wrong, they tell you straight away. Growing up, they don't need permission from your parents to discipline you, which is something I grew up with, which might be strange to many now. But that was what it was, that I grew up knowing that everyone around me was a disciplinarian. Everyone don't take, things that are not right and smile about it. When you do it, you're told off straight away, and you are put straight to put it right. So, and that is exactly what it is. In this family, we grew up having morning prayers, evening prayers. We go to church. we go for services. I mean, my parents were rooted in their faith to God Almighty. And that was not just in the church alone, but a general thing that we do in the house as well. So all the things, the worship, the praying, the fasting don't end in church. It actually transcends more than that. We do that on a regular basis, either you're in church or not. And these were things that I grew up experiencing. And also when it comes to teachings of my parents, which, I read in here as well, is the fact that they don't rely on the society only to teach us what we're meant to know. So my parents take due diligence in teaching us all the things that we know right now, and things that, should be taught right. So they pay attention to those things, and that brings us to talking about the royal heritage. The royal heritage. The duality of privilege and responsibility in being a firstborn prince. Whew. I mean, my royal heritage were things that were instilled in me that I could be a better person today. And these were starting from what my parents taught me, what my dad, as a royal prince and a doctor in the community. I grew up always seeing him looking after people, always attending to friends, families, always not keeping what he has to himself alone, but sharing with everyone else, both intellectual properties, both his gifts, his talents, and things that he grew up actually inheriting from his royal background. And these also were things that I see in myself right now, that I don't feel right to keep certain things to myself without sharing them. So it is one of those things that was written in this book. With my dad's teaching and my mom's nurture, and seeing both of them growing up together with love and compassion, I mean, this helped shaped me to become a better person here today. All right, let me quickly ask, have you ever felt the pressure of expectations tied to your family or community? How did that actually shape you? I mean, let me know in the comment section if these were things you've ever experienced before, and what are your reviews? What are your views on what I've written in this book about the pressure that was right upon me through my family and also the community around me? Let me hear your views on that. All right, let's quickly go on to the next section. Navigating childhood and adolescence is another part in this chapter that I want us to have a look at. Balancing youthful curiosity with the weight of expectation. These were things that got to me. I always want to know reasons for doing things that we do. I would always ask questions. I'm very curious to know, how do we get here? Where are we going? I mean, these were questions always. I mean, it must have really, really been questions that my parents took patience to always hear and to answer. Because struggling with that right now, with the kind of generation that we have now, my kids will question every single thing. And sometimes it becomes so much questions that you just wonder, how do I answer these kids? So I could imagine what they were going through answering those questions, having a child very curious about things, and also my academic journey. I remember stories from my mom that I was very, very brilliant child that everyone loves to have around. I will always challenge their intellectual reasoning. I always want to know things. I always ask them about so many things. The youthful moments of curiosity actually brought me to saying that these were things that gave me resilience and self-discovery of who I am, of what the world is, of what purpose it is for doing the things that I find myself doing today. I thank my parents for laying that great foundation for me, which is what has brought me to where we are right now. Right, I just want to throw this question right here, right now, at you guys, that where do you find sanctuary when life feels overwhelming? Because I'd like to know, am I the only one that feels that sometimes the sanctuary that you're looking for is not the one that you're familiar with? So where do you then find sanctuary? Where do you go to find solace? Where do you go to find peace when when life feels overwhelming? Many of us would have been through some very overwhelming situations. And how do you come back from that? How do you get on from that? I could see comments coming in right now. And I appreciate everyone tuning in, and I could see everyone that is coming in. And thank you so much. Just don't want to break this conversation by mentioning everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I can see you. Lessons from legacy has been one that has really helped me to continue to forge ahead, and also moving from the traditional way of doing things to creating my own path. As any of us stayed in the same tradition that we knew growing up, and we're still in that till today. Many of us have grown out of it. Many of us have tried so much to mold it, to shape it, to accommodate certain things from the lessons we have acquired from legacy into what we are today. And these were things that has brought me from where I was to where I am right now. Here is another question for us on this chapter, A Royal Beginning. How do you balance your heritage while pursuing your personal dreams? Let's round up. Whew, what a great section. In rounding up, thank you so much. Thank you. In rounding up, thanks for coming in. Thank you. I'll see you. Faith, tradition, and ambition as what has brought me to where I am today. Finding my own identity. These are three key factors as written in this chapter that has really propelled me to know who I am, to know where I'm going, to know where I'm from. These are collective things, and my ambition to do better, to do great, which was also a foundation that I got from my parents, support that they gave me while growing up, and also the tutelage from families, the community that has really pushed me forward to where I am today. Here is my personal takeaway from this chapter. The weight of a royal beginning taught me that greatness is not in the title that you carry, but in the legacy that you choose to build. Thank you so much. And that is the end of the chapter. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you. I appreciate you. I want to hear your views, your overall takeaway from this chapter, A Royal